Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is that time of year again. The Sephora VIB sale is upon us. It starts on October 28th for Rouge members and will go down the line to Beauty Insiders, VIB. You get different percentages. I will have everything listed down in the description box so you know exactly when everything starts and how much of a discount you can get. And I decided to do my recommendation video a little bit differently this year and actually do a full face. So I just chose one product from each category that I recommend looking into if you don't already have it, and came up with this look you're seeing right here. So if you want to see how I got it and what I recommend from Sephora, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first things first is to cover up these under eyes, and I'm going to be using the Bobbi Brown Skin Corrector Stick, and this is in the shade Bisque. Now, this is, as it states, a stick corrector. I typically don't really go for stick products because, especially under the eyes, because I feel like they can get a little bit more drying. This one, however, is really fabulous. It does the job. I just put a little bit in that inner corner where my darkness is the worst, and then I use the warmth of my fingertip to blend it out. And I do bring a little bit out here because I am dark pretty much all under my eye, but especially right there in that inner corner, and it just helps brighten things up. Now, I am going to be using a concealer on top of this. However, it's one that doesn't have a ton of coverage, so I wanted to make sure I picked out a corrector that did provide that coverage slash correction that I need for my dark circles. I don't think it will come as any surprise as to what foundation I'm going to use, because I wax poetic about this line of foundations so much, and there's a reason. It's because they are so fabulous. This is the Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Wear, and this is the original, and this is the stick. I also have the Care and Glow. I have a whole video that demos and reviews and compares all three of them. I am in the shade Bisque Neutral 260 Bisque Neutral, and I'm going to use the liquid today. So I'm just going to take a couple of pumps of that, dot it on my face, and blend it in. This is, as you will be able to see, I think a lot of people have the misconception that this is a very mattifying foundation, but you can see my SPF. I have the Elta MD SPF UV Elements on today, and you can see that it has my skin looking a little luminous. And you're also going to be able to see that this does not take that away. It is not a flat matte. It's a very gorgeous foundation. I cannot speak highly enough about it. Definitely one that I recommend looking into, either this or the stick. And I think that having both of them is not redundant. Obviously, they're two very different formulas, but they do have a little bit of a different finish on the skin. If you watch that video, you'll be able to see. But I'm telling you, the longevity of these, it really can't be beat. It's why I choose the stick most often when I travel, because it's so easy, and because I know no matter what kind of conditions I'm in, whether it be hot or cold or 16-hour days or 8-hour days, it doesn't matter. It's going to last all day and look good all day. Now, the concealer that I was talking about that doesn't have as much coverage, and actually one that I absolutely did not like when I first got it, but once I gave a couple more tries to the concealer, I realized that I actually do appreciate what it does for my under eyes. This is the Say Hydra Beam Concealer, and it is a very good name for this concealer because it is luminous. Now, I always powder my concealers, so it's not that big of a deal, but it is a very luminous concealer. If you don't like that, you might not want to check into this. It has lighter coverage, but the way it wears throughout the day under my eyes is just beautiful. It's moisturizing, it's forgiving. I am in the shade HB3. So I just take a little bit, kind of in the same areas that I put the corrector. I'm not gonna worry about doing this because this is my skin tone. You know, you see people put concealer up here. If this were lighter and it would actually do the job of giving the illusion of lifting my face, then I would do that. But it would just be wasting product right now if I did that because of the color. It just matches my skin and it would serve no purpose. This brush is the Sephora number 47, which I love. I will say, and I say it every time in case you're new, this is the older version of the Sephora 47. I don't know how the newer one compares. From what I can tell, it's the same shape, but I don't know if they've changed the bristles or anything else like that. But anything in this shape is what I like for stippling in my concealer under my eyes. To set my under eyes, I used my Ilia Fade Into You Soft Focus Finishing Powder, which I specifically use for under eyes and love it. I talk about this and more powders in my not powder foundation, but my powder roundup that I posted last week before. I'll put a card up. But right now, this is my favorite for setting underneath the eyes. The Pat McGrath is also really good. For setting the face, I pulled out my Say Air Set Radiant Loose Setting Powder. I love this one. It does say radiant, but it is not luminous in my opinion. It just gives a really pretty skin finish. So I am using my definitely recommended powder brush from Sephora, the La Mer powder brush. I know it's expensive. I've had this for years. I will continue to have it for years. I think it's good to invest in high quality brushes, even if they are more expensive, because they're not going to expire. If you take care of them and wash them appropriately, you're going to have them forever. So I just love this so much. I love it for pressed powder. I love it for loose powder. And it has really held up well through all the many washings that I put it through. But see how that is definitely a little bit more mattified than this side, but it's not flat matte. It's still a pretty skin finish that doesn't look like I have a ton of powder on my face. I've got to talk about this bronzer because not only do I absolutely love the packaging, I love the product. It is a little bit more expensive, so the discount is definitely going to help. And this is the Gucci bronzer. I think I've recommended this the past like 3 or 4 times. I am in the shade 3. It's just a very pretty, natural looking bronzer. It is, if you look at it, it looks like it has a little bit of shimmer in it, but to me, it wears more like a matte bronzer. It's very easily blended out. I really like to have bronzers in my collection that I don't have to think about what foundation or powder I'm wearing underneath it. For instance, like I probably wouldn't put a more radiant bronzer with a super radiant foundation, right? It would just be too much. Same with a matte bronzer and a matte foundation. I like to mix it up, but I also like to have kind of an in-between bronzer that works with any kind of foundation that I don't really have to think about when I reach for it. And I feel like this Gucci bronzer falls in that category. It's just so pretty. For blush, again, you are likely going to know what I'm talking about. When I looked at this recently, it was sold out. There are a couple shades that aren't, but I'm hoping that it gets restocked before the sale and even during the sale. A lot of times on the first day of the sale, things can be sold out, but they do, I feel like, try to work hard to restock their items. And this is the RMS Redimension Hydro Powder Blush. Oh, just love this. This is Pomegranate Fizz. I do have another shade on my wish list that is available. I would like to own all of them one day and make me, because you can pop them out, make me like a little RMS blush palette. It would be hard to keep it out of my kit because these are just so pretty. And I love this Pomegranate Fizz color. I'm going to use a cream highlight, so I'm going to go ahead and buff. And this is the point of the makeup where I'm done with all of my powder products and I want to really just kind of filter everything out, make sure there's no harsh lines. I'm going to use my Hourglass Radiant Light, and this is an IT Cosmetics Duo Fiber brush. Any duo fiber brush will do, and I mean, I see people use fluffy brushes, and that's fine. I just prefer the results of a duo fiber, but whatever you want to do, and I do add quite a bit of pressure, and it still doesn't take away anything I don't want it to take away. It just gives this really pretty finish on the skin while also making sure there's not any harsh bronzer lines or harsh blush lines. That's a mouthful. Everything just kind of blends together. Now, the cream highlight that I'm going to use is one that I have talked about ad nauseum again, but there's a reason because I love it and I highly recommend it. It is the Merit Highlight Stick, and this is in the shade Kava. I also have, I think it's Bounce, which is more of like a rose gold shade. But this one is just this gorgeous champagne. I just kind of apply it to my fingers like that and then tap it into the skin. And it is so, okay, I want to say it's so natural looking, but look, I mean, it's obvious that I have a highlight on, right? But it's skin-like. It doesn't have any flecks of glitter in it at all. It just gives this almost like wet skin look, but also very natural. And it's so pretty and very easy to blend in. I love it so, so much. Cannot recommend this enough. It is a little tacky on the skin, but to me, it is not enough to feel like my hair gets stuck in it if it's down or anything like that. I definitely have used highlighters that are tackier, but it's not a powder finish. So do know that going in. Now, let's go to the eyes, and I'm gonna use a palette that I feel like everybody should have, especially if you're someone who doesn't like to have a collection of a ton of palettes, and it is the Viva palette. Again, not new. I don't think these recommendations videos have to be new products only. These are tried and true products that the discount is really going to help. This is, I believe, her most expensive palette, which of course it would be, being the best in my opinion. Natasha Denona is not always known for her consistency when it comes to formulas and eyeshadow palettes, at least in my experience, but this one is consistently good for me. I never have any issues. You get warm looks, you can get cool looks, you've got eyeliner colors, you've got shimmers, you have mattes, it's just, you have satins, everything you would need. So I am wearing more peach. I'm gonna go more like a pinky cool tone look. So I'm gonna go in with Buff, which is right here. I'm going to put that in my crease. There are some eyeshadow formulas that the shadow in the pan looks exactly like it looks once it's blended out into your eyes. There are some where the shadow in the pan looks way dark and it doesn't come off that dark on your eyes. And then there's some like Natasha Denona shadows, in my experience, that actually show up a little bit darker on the eye than they appear in the pan. So again, something to think about no matter which palette you're using, because I find that to be pretty much the case across the board for her palettes. For my lid color, I'm gonna go into Monroe, which is right here. This is more of a champagne-y, a little bit of a pink undertone shimmer. You've got more of a gold one up here in the corner, and then a much more bronze one in this corner as well. And those are the three standout shimmers in the palette. I love this formula with my finger. So just tap it in and then tap it into the pan and then just press it onto my lid. And I don't have any kind of base color, and just that payoff is insanely good. And then I'm gonna take this color called Pasha right here on this outer corner. It's a very deep burgundy wine shade. And I'm taking it on my Refer 26, which is like a little bit of a jumbo pencil brush. And I'm just going to lightly add some dimension to the outer corner. This is a very all the shadows in this palette are very pigmented. So a light hand is gonna be your best friend when working with this formula. And one of my very favorite eyeshadow colors in any palette is this spot right down here, which you're probably like, it's a black, Mandy. What's so special about it? It's not the color that's special, it's the formula. It is a cream to powder shadow, and it will literally glide across your eyelid, especially when you pair it with the Refer 29 brush. It just makes for one of the easiest liner applications of any shadow that I have. Finish off the eye look, I'm gonna go back into Buff, which is what I used in the crease, and just gently, exactly that, buff that underneath the eye. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of Monroe in the inner corner and brow bone. This is the BK Beauty 210, one of the newer brushes. I don't currently have an open mascara from Sephora in rotation, so I did that off camera. But now we're gonna do lips, and again, not gonna be a surprise if you've watched any of my videos. I have the Merit lip products, and I absolutely love them. Now, I only have 2 shades in the lipsticks, but They're two fabulous shades. This is Millennial. And then I also have, is it Slip? I'm interested in Baby because it's also like a nude pink. But this Millennial is a very, very pretty pink. You can make it super opaque and a little bit darker, or you can kind of just tap it on if you don't want as much pigment. And then because I am a gloss girl and this is matte, I'm gonna use the Bel Air Tinted Lip Oil, which this is actually just the clear one from Merit as well, to give a little bit of shine and moisture to the lips, which this does very well. And it actually lasts quite a long time on my lips compared to other lip oils. Now, it's a lip oil. It's not gonna last all day. It's not a stain, but the longevity in comparison to others is very good. I just filmed my wish list video and I realized I did not tell you my other non-makeup recommendations from Sephora, and there's not a ton. There's really only a hair care, a skincare, and a few perfumes, but I do want to show you that because they are very loved by me. The hair care product is not gonna be new. The Living Proof Perfect Hair Day Dry Shampoo. Oh, so good. Oh, so good. It cleans the hair. It just gives a little bit of volume. I wash my hair every third day. So I wash my hair, I take 2 days off, and then I wash my hair. By that second day off, I need this. So I use it a couple of times a week. And I have used, I feel like, every dry shampoo brand out there, and this is by far my favorite. And then as far as skincare goes, I am the first to admit, and if you watch any of my skincare routines, you'll know this, I do not buy skincare, the majority of my skincare, from Sephora. It's not because I don't feel like they have good skincare brands. It's just not what I choose to use. However, there is one brand that I feel like is very consistent with what they put out. Their claims are met with their results. They have a good selection and they can just be counted on. And that is Dr. Dennis Gross. And my favorite product from Dr. Dennis Gross is the Alpha Beta Universal Daily Pill. It's not a pill. I don't take it. It's a peel. A peel. This is the actual original Universal Daily Peel. They have a sensitive skin one that I have used as well that does not have glycolic. It just has lactic acid. It has one pad that has the actual actives in it that you put all over your face, and I put it down my neck and décolleté. Leave it for 2 minutes and then go in with the second pad, which actually neutralizes all those acids on the skin. I do not have any sensitivity to this product. If you have very thick, oily skin, you could use this daily. I use this once a week and I see results. It keeps my skin nice and exfoliated with no side effects. I love it. I have used it for years, on and off in my skincare routine, and it's definitely on right now. And for someone like me, I mean, this comes with 30 treatments. That's gonna last me, 7 to 8 weeks. So definitely worth it, especially with the discount. And finally, I can't not tell you perfumes that I recommend from Sephora. And I have 3 that are my favorite right now in my rotation. The first is My Way Intense from Armani. This is not the original. I have the original in a spray, like a travel spray. The Intense to my nose is a little bit sweeter, a little bit heavier, but in a good way. And it lasts a little bit longer on my skin. So this is a white floral fragrance. It does have tuberose. It is heavy on the white florals. But again, this one just has a little bit of a sweeter undertone to it. So I definitely prefer this one to the original. I like both, but if I had to choose, I would pick this one. So if you're looking for a very pretty floral, definitely look into My Way Intense. Next is one that I have recommended over and over and over and over again because it's so good. And this is by Tom Ford, and it is Metalique. Now I know you're gonna get a ton of recommendations for like Lost Cherry and Bitter Peach, and I like those. I do, I like those a lot. But honestly, this one stands out to me the most as this beautiful aldehydic, vanilla, metallic almost, as the name states, scent. It is not for everybody. It is one of those scents where you either love it or you hate it. I love it. It's a little bit powdery, but mostly I get like a cold metallic vanilla. Almost like you're smelling a silver spoon that has some baking vanilla in it. I don't know how else to explain it. And then finally, this is in my top 5 fragrances of all time. If you haven't checked out that video, be sure to do it. This is absolutely beautiful. I get compliments on it all the time, and it is a must-have in my opinion in your collection if you love fragrance. And it is from Givenchy. It's L'Interdit Rouge. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is one of the longest lasting perfumes and is hands down the longest lasting designer fragrance I have in my collection. This has ginger, it has blood orange, it has patchouli, it has tuberose, it has vetiver, and it's so well blended that I can't pick out any of those. Like it is, I can tell maybe how some of them are in there, but this is not a tuberose like this is. Absolutely not. I know people who love this and hate tuberose, so do not disregard this simply because it has a tuberose note. I feel like the tuberose in the original L'Interdit is much more prominent than in this. This is a sexy, spicy, woody, gorgeous scent. I cannot recommend it enough. So definitely check that out during the sale if you don't already have it. So that's it. That is the full face of recommendations that I personally stand behind from Sephora to look into if you haven't already during the sale. I will have everything listed and linked down in the description box. They are affiliate links, so they do help out my channel if you choose to use them. Let me know what you are most excited about getting during the sale. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.